Welcome to Bruins Benders postgame live on the Inside the Rink YouTube channel. You can subscribe to the Inside the Rink YouTube channel and get all of our great content. The Bruins get a 2-1 overtime win over the Los Angeles Kings today. You're with Maddie and Smitty, and we are available on X at Bruins Benders. Also me at Mr. Matty Barry, and Smitty at Benders Smitty. 2-1 win in overtime. David Pastrnak scores his third goal in 3 games to win it for Boston in what was otherwise sort of a ho-hum, meh kind of game.
Yeah, I thought the Bruins for large parts of the game were sleepwalking through it. The first period they looked like they were fast asleep. They looked like it was a matinee. It looked like matinees of old. Every time the Bruins played a Saturday night matinee, it took them forever to wake up. Same thing in this one. Fell asleep through the first, most of the second. Late in the second, they seem like they finally start to generate a little momentum, and then they come out slow again at the beginning of the third. And you've talked about it, and we've talked about it. I don't know what the problem is with this team and starts, but they don't start on time. It's like they need to hit the coffee, hit the espresso a little bit earlier in the day, boys, and get ready to go. I don't understand what the problem is, but it's something that's going to need to be fixed because teams are going to jump on them. They're going to get down early, and they don't have the kind of firepower you need to be able to claw back into games every night if you're playing from behind.
Yeah, it's been an issue with this team, and I don't know what it is, to be honest with you. Montgomery has been changing up starting units. He had the third line in there for the Florida game, and then he went with a Marchand line against the Canadiens, and he just tries to kind of change it up. I'll tell you what, the fourth line is, for the most part, a menace to society right now. I mean, they are aggressive. They are all pretty fast and quick and big and physical, and I think that the line mates, Kastelik and Koepka, have really rubbed off on Beecher, and you're getting the best out of John Beecher these 3 games as we've ever seen. And if he maintains that consistency, then that fourth line is going to be a difference maker going forward if they stay away from injury.
Yeah, I would agree. I thought the fourth line was the best line tonight. Without question, the bbest line. And I thought of all the players, Matt Poitras in his debut, coming off of not playing in, however long at an NHL regular season game. I don't know what it's been for him, 8 months, 9 months, something.
Yeah.
He was their best forward tonight. I thought he was fantastic. He was all around the puck. He was winning battles. He was making plays. There's a few instances, and he's still young and he'll learn this, but there was a few times where he passed where he probably should have shot. But, other than that, I thought for sure that he was, easily their best forward of the game.
Easily. I mean, he's the playmaker that the Bruins have needed, that I've been saying for a while, that even ever since Krejci left, when he left for that 1 year and then he left for good, that's been a void on the team, is playmaking 100%. Centers. And he made that one play where I'm yelling, shoot the friggin' thing, and he turns and he finds a trailing McAvoy, and Kemper makes it like a look what I found glove save.
Ridiculous glove
and
save.
I think that was a really great play. Like, that's the vision that Krejci had. Like, that's the playmaking kind of centerman that we saw with him for years. So, that's what Poitras brings to the table. Now I'm going to say to you is that Poitras needs to play with Marchand on that second line, because Charlie Coyle looks old right now. He just, those first 3 games, he has not been good.
Yeah, he hasn't been good, and I don't think Geeky's been particularly good either. I mean, Geeky drew a penalty down low late in the game that, led to some pretty good chances for the Bruins. But, other than that, I mean, both those guys are not really second-line players, though. So, that's what I'm saying. Like, put Poitras with Marchand, and then if you want to make Coyle the right wing on that line so you have someone bigger and defensively responsible, fine. If you want to make him the third line center, fine. And you want to move Frederick around somewhere else. I guess Sweeney said, but prior to the season that the Bruins aren't a finished product right now, and they may be looking for a winger at the deadline. I don't know how they're going to be able to afford one. They have like $50 in cap space, but but apparently they may need to be shopping for one, or maybe that's Fabian Lysell or Merkulov, or they can find someone somewhere that's going to be able to fill in that spot and give them a little more, offensive mindedness in the top six.
Yeah, I mean, then you run into do you play Patra with Lysell?
Yeah. I mean, Patra, Lysell, Marchand, probably that. Yeah, I mean, that line's probably too small. Yeah. So,
and I don't think Marchand would love it either with Lysell. He just didn't seem like he wanted to groom someone on the other side of the wing. I don't know, but Patra needs to play at least on the power play more.
Yeah, that frustrated the hell out of me.
Can we get him?
That frustrated the hell out of me.
Yeah. And then Charlie McAvoy, can we get him off power play 1, please? I mean, that's just like, come on, dude.
He was good tonight. I thought McAvoy was good tonight, and there's times with everyone that you're going to turn the puck over or things like that. But I mean, I didn't think he was really the problem on power play 1. I thought the entire team was being pressured and they were just moving the puck, all of them moving the puck too slowly. Mm-hmm. And that's that's just something that the coaches need to see from up above and get down to the bench. Hey, look, they're pressuring. As soon as you touch it, they're pressuring. You got to move it quicker. And the Kings did that on their first power play and they scored a goal. And then, when the Bruins, I thought later in the third, when they started moving the puck a little bit more, they were able to generate some chances. So, we'll see how that all, kind of shakes out. But I mean, until someone takes McAvoy's spot away from him, like until Lowry or Hampus Lindholm, until one of those guys really starts to produce at the second power play unit, I don't think there's any reason to move McAvoy off power play 1.
Now, I'll say this, that it looked like it was 5-on-5 for much of the power play. Like the Kings were just at the points. They knew what was coming. It just wasn't, like you said, slow movement of the puck. Not a lot of possession of the puck with some space. And it seemed like anytime they had some space, it was because the puck got deflected or they got lucky and was able to get something behind the net or just in front of the net. But for the most part, that thing needs to be better. And as Pesman was saying here, like the power play is picking off where it was last season. And again, I think it's largely because they have a quarterback like Krejci made a huge difference. Remember when they put him on the power play 1 toward the end of that last season he had, and he made all the difference in the world. They just need a guy with vision, and I think Patra can be that guy with some more experience.
I think he definitely could. I don't know why Justin Brazeau was on the power play. Justin Brazeau tonight was brutal.
He was brutal.
So he took the cues from us, and you especially ripping into him after the last game, and he lived up to those expectations that you put on him, because he was terrible tonight. I mean, they had a 3-on-2. Frederick hits him on the tape, and he bobbles it off.
Stumbles.
They don't even get a scoring chance. I mean, he was just. I mean, a big guy who was supposed to have good hands, he was stone hands tonight. He exploded off his stick every time he touched it. He was bobbling it. He couldn't do anything right today. And maybe that's just, a guy playing above his level. But, a guy like that, an undrafted guy like that should not be on the power play. How does Patra not end up on the power play when he's one of the best forwards all game long? And you finally do it on the very last power play of the game and they start generating chances. Yeah, I mean, it's not a coincidence.
There you go. Yeah, and I think they're doing that, trying to replace that JVR in front of the net thing. But he wasn't really getting there. It wasn't. Again, he needs to get there. And again, look, he's a borderline. He's an AHL player. He's a borderline at best NHL player. And after a while, those guys get exposed. And that's just the way it is. I'm sorry. But it's just the way it is. So I think I'd like to see Patra in Coyle flip and go, Patra second line and Coyle third line and just give it a go for a little bit. I think it would help Marchand some.
I hope so. I really do.
I think so.
I think Marchand needs another playmaker. But, here's another thing. Marchand himself now, all of a sudden, he's playmaker only. He thinks he's got to fill the void of the playmaking guy for everyone else. Marshy, shoot the goddamn puck, especially when you beat your check to the front of the net and it's just you and the goalie. Shoot the motherfucking puck. Sorry, John. I mean, but for crying out loud, you beat your check. It's just you and the goalie, and you pass to Zacha, who's covered.
Yeah,
covered.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Yeah, I don't know. To be honest, I mean, Marchand has to pepper the goalie with shots. That's the only way that second line is going to score right now. It's the only way.
He has a great shot too, and I don't know if it's.
Oh my God, he has a snipe, that back-footed thing.
Because of the the surgeries, he's not feeling it yet. I mean, maybe that could be, but when you're in that tight,
it
doesn't matter.
Yeah. Or he thinks Coyle's struggling a bit, and he just has to pick it up. I don't know. Just doesn't seem comfortable on that second line, which has been the worst line of the bunch the first 3 games.
Yeah, I would agree. But I thought Pastrnak tonight until he scored the goal was bad. He had 0 shots on goal, and 1 shot attempt until the final power play. I think he had a shot in the final power play. But then that's what goal scorers do. All of a sudden you need them. Patra makes a great play, low ride with the sweet seam pass to Pastrnak, and goal scorer's goal finds the back of the net, and the Bruins end up with a victory they may not have deserved.
No, and I don't think so. I don't think they did. I thought Trevor Moore was the best player on the ice. He had 7 shots on net. Seemed to have a chance every play, every shift. Jeremy Swayman was really good today.
He was.
Made some real big stops, and was the best penalty killer they had at times too.
Mm-hmm.
And showed why he's definitely a number 1 type goalie, and they get this type of goaltending. And I thought the defense settled down a little bit today. I thought they were better than they had been.
They were better, but the first pass is still an issue. It is,
yeah.
Especially parts of the beginning of the first into the second. They struggled there. Carlo's still turning it over a little too much for my liking. And just all of them weren't real clean with it. But as the game went on, they got better with it. But it's still something that is going to be an issue that they're going to need to work on most of the season, I would say, especially when they come up against heavy forechecking teams like they will Monday afternoon.
They will, for sure. So they get the victory 2-1 in overtime, and we'll go inside the box score a bit. And one thing that kind of stood out with me was that there was increased time with the 4th unit, and rightfully so. They all played over, right around 12 to over 12 minutes of ice time, which was good. Last game, Kepke played like 7:20. So I think they're getting rewarded for what they're doing. In the hits, Kastelic 4, Kepke 4, Beecher 3, and they were really swarming, especially in the early going.
Yeah, I thought so. Like I said earlier, I thought the 4th line was the best line, all day. I thought it was the best line in the last game as well. So, like I said, as long as that unit keeps bringing it with the hitting and being hard on the forecheck, and they weren't rewarded on the score sheet today, but they did things the right way. And if you can continue to do that, I think those guys, that same trio keeps getting games until one of those guys starts to fall off a little bit. I'm rolling with those guys because I think they are momentum changers for the Bruins.
Yeah, for sure. Elias Lindholm, 9 for 16 on the faceoff dot. I thought Lindholm is getting better and better the last 3 games. First game, not really, kind of Second game was a little bit better. And I thought today he was pretty good at times. He made a really good back-checking play, which is his bread and butter. Early on in the game, I think it was first period, where he almost saved a really good chance from LA, just coming back and having defensive coverage for a defenseman who was up ice. And then he had the goal, and a great shot by Marchand. I think it was Marchand. That low far side, the type of shot that will get a rebound, and sure as shit, a huge rebound right onto his stick, one-timer, bang. And that was a huge goal because they were kind of dead in the water. And even though it was 1-0, it felt like 3-0.
Yeah.
In that they couldn't get anything going. So that was a huge goal to at least to even it up. And then from there, I thought the Bruins amped up their intensity level.
Yeah, they did. It did take the goal in the 4-on-4 situation, I think, for the Bruins to get going a little bit there at the end of the second. But then again, Brick said it on the Nesson broadcast. You would have expected them to come out in the third period with the jump in their step from that momentum that they got at the end of the second period, and they weren't. They were flat again to start the third. And, then it's a back and forth kind of, and maybe that was the type of game it was. Both teams, are going to be defensive minded teams, defense first and that kind of thing. And maybe it was just that kind of game where it was a little bit of a tight checking, close to the vest, kind of don't make a mistake type of game. But, the Bruins really need to have more of a sense of urgency throughout the game, especially with their starts.
They do, and in the beginnings of games are an issue. It is a matinee and all that, and I get that. But LA is a West Coast team playing at 1:00. They just played the other night. Like they're in the same kind of boat. And LA came out much better than they did against Buffalo. Buffalo kind of jumped them in the last game, and LA had a good third period to win. Kopitar, natural hat trick or whatever, they win, but they were outshot 27-11 in the first two periods against Buffalo. So they didn't start well at all last game. This game, I thought they started better on their end. And of course, their penalty kill created some momentum for them. And it was a momentum killer for the Bruins.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if the Bruins had any momentum when they got to those power plays, but if they did have even a sliver of momentum, it certainly went away when the Bruins got on the power play. Because I believe, I don't know if it was the first period or the first time. I think it was the first period. At one point, shots on goal during Bruins power plays were 5-1 LA.
Yeah.
So that's something.
Not what you're looking for.
Not at all.
Not what you're looking for. Hampus Lindholm today, 28 shifts, played 21-48. He had 5 shots on net. And, I think Hampus is playing better to start the year here. I think we're seeing a little bit more of what he can do.
Mm-hmm.
And if he plays like this, I think that, and we had 2 blocked shots, and he played over 4 minutes of shorthanded time. And if he plays like this, I think that that's kind of where the sweet spot is for Lindholm, and it'll be very helpful to the team, especially with Carlo not playing great and Lowry, being scratched the other day, although I thought Lowry was better overall. I made that brilliant play to set up Pastrnak to win it. I mean, that's a great pass.
Sure is.
That's a great pass. And that's the type of thing that Lowry can do. But I think Lindholm, I'm happy with the way cautiously happy with the way he's playing.
Yeah, I thought he was good tonight. And I think there's been kind of a directive probably from the coaches to Lindholm and McAvoy both to shoot the puck more.
I mean, it's obvious.
And he did that today. He had a great move on the second power play where he, the pass comes across and he fakes the check and steps into the slot for a great, chance. So, he's doing things more like he did a few years ago when he had more kind of offensive zone time, maybe some more offensive zone starts. Last year, he was much more in a defensive role, I think, with Carlo, and they kind of relied on him more as a shutdown defenseman, which isn't really his game. So that kind of puzzled me that they kind of put him into that role. So I'd like to see him get back to more of the two-way guy that we saw a few years ago, and it seems like he's moving in that direction.
Now, with Brazeau not playing great and Patra back for power play purposes, do you think Tufte goes in and Brazeau out for the next game? Although I don't love Tufte in the third line, and I certainly don't love them breaking up the fourth line.
I think you could see Max Jones go back in.
Okay. Jones for Brazeau. And will he be a third line guy? I mean, I don't love that either. I just love the chemistry at the fourth line is starting is playing with.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, maybe because Geeky hasn't been great on the second line. Maybe that's a spot for, a Jones or someone else.
Fucking tongue. Yeah.
I mean, I'm just saying, no one's been great there yet.
Right.
So maybe you move someone else into Geeky's spot, and Geeky drops to the third line with Frederick, and whomever. I wouldn't mind seeing, at this point in time, Tyler Johnson getting signed and giving him a crack on either that second line right wing or somewhere in the third line with Frederick and somebody else, and Jones and Tufte can stay out. To me, that's what I would do. Whether they can sign a guy and get him, ready and into the lineup by Monday, I doubt that. But, ideally, in my mind, if, you're not giving one of the young guys a chance, Tyler Johnson should be in the lineup.
Yeah, so as we get into the fan comments, Bruins fan 71 says Potsy, Geeky, Freddie, third line. Lysell should get a shot on second line. Do you think Lysell gets the shot before Johnson?
No.
So they do some salary cap gymnastics to get Tyler Johnson in the friggin' fold before they even see what they have with Lysell.
I think they do. Yeah, I think they do. Wow. I don't think they're sold on Lysell's play away from the puck. I think Johnson is a veteran who does those away from the puck things much better. He has a good hockey IQ. I think he can play with good players. He can play with, not so good players. So I think Johnson probably is the better option. And look, Lysell, the Providence Bruins opened the other night and they lost 5-2 to Laval. Connor Brown scored and Vinny Lettieri scored.
Patrick Brown, Connor's brother.
I do that every time.
I know you do, yeah.
It's producer Connor. I have him on the brain, I guess. So
Connor Green, Connor Brown, Connor Black.
Yeah, I mean, whatever it is. Anyway, it's just Lysell didn't, by all accounts, didn't really have a great game in that one. So if he's gonna go down and play down in Providence, he's got to light it up down there to come back. They're not just gonna bring him up because he's shown flashes of ability. You got to earn your spot. That's the way the world works. And Bruins certainly, have shown that they're not just going to give it to him. Nope. So someone needs to, if he wants that spot, he's got to earn it. And Tyler Johnson, I think, over the course of his career, has probably earned an opportunity before Fabian Lysell has.
Yeah, and Patra has, this just shows how good Patra is defensively and how much responsible he is that he's able to play because he's been up here. He was up here for 33 games and he's right back up here in his debut today. And like you said, probably one of the better forwards, if not the best forward on the ice throughout the game with the most chances. He had the puck. He wins battles. In a sneaky way. Yeah, in a sneaky way, like positioning, stick work, gets space for himself after he wins. He doesn't win the puck and then he kind of wins the puck and then gets a little bit of space to avoid any other battle that's ensuing. So I think he's showing some really great potential and they'll friggin' need it 100%. Shaz Diet, I think we'll start to see Patra on the power play moving forward. If we don't, then Montgomery's an idiot. Patra needs to be on there, and maybe Tyler Johnson helps there too on a second unit.
Yeah,
who knows? Maybe. I think if Tyler Johnson's signed, we're not going to see Justin Brazeau for a dog's age.
I wouldn't be sad about that, would you?
Yeah, no, and I'm sorry that everybody would be offended by it and saddened by his departure. And Jason says Johnson and Brazeau out. Here.
Fine by that, Jason.
Hampus Lindholm looks great. I agree, says Bruins fan 71. I think he has. And Beth, welcome back, Beth. Looks like the fourth line is the production. And they were talking about that on the broadcast. This has kind of been the most consistent line. They're generating what they need to generate. You're not going to score. Each guy's not going to score 20 goals, but they're going to get a chance or two. They're a menace. They're physical. They wear down defenses. And it showed in the ice time. The ice time went up 4 or 5 minutes per guy. So,
100%. 100%. They've certainly earned their ice time and earned earned all the looks that they get, and as we've said before, they should stay together as long as that line keeps doing what they're doing. They've clearly been the best line for the Bruins, to this point in the season.
What's your analysis of Zadorov and McAvoy as a pairing?
I thought in the Montreal game they were good. I thought tonight they weren't great. And the thing I worry about on that pairing is foot speed. Like,
Right.
can they catch guys? Can they catch guys if somebody puts the puck in behind and goes to get it? Can they get back and do that? As far as offensive ability and chemistry, I don't think they really have it yet. Zadorov has taken some shots from the point, which I think has been good. Like I said before, I think that's been a directive to the defenseman that when you get it, start looking to shoot. Don't look to throw it down the wall. And I think they've all taken that to heart. But I mean, I think probably that's the best place for Zadorov, because I'm not sure low-rye McAvoy really works with both of them really wanting to jump up in the play. And low-rye Carlo, I guess is okay, but they need to still kind of figure out who fits where and who's gonna play the best with the other guy.
29-24 were the hits in favor of Boston, 33-26 the shots in favor of the Kings, and then the Bruins had 10 giveaways, better than the last game. I believe with Canadians they had 17 giveaways.
They had 11, and against the Panthers 11 just by the defenseman. So
right. So there's some progress. Beth says might be too early to know if McAvoy and Zadorov pairings will be the thing, and that's what we just Smitty just said about the foot speed, getting back to the line, to the goal line to make to get the puck, possess the puck, be able to break it out. Zadorov today had 4 hits. That's what he does. I mean, he's a big menacing human being, which is good. He did stick up, and Brick talked about him sticking up for McAvoy after McAvoy took an awkward spill behind the net with a guy. He didn't like the way it happened after the I think it was Moore, might have been Lewis, one of those two, that he didn't like it and sort of started getting into the face washing thing, and then Zadorov was right there to help as well. So that was I think that's what he brings to the table, Zadorov. I think he obviously sticks up for teammates. He's intimidating and that sort of thing. I just hope that as a top pair, but jury's still out for me. I think he's better suited as like a third pair, Yeah,
so, it will be interesting to see how that all shakes out, and where it eventually ends up with Zadorov. Beth also says that the Bruins were better at the dot today, which they were, and it was an issue last year, definitely, and Elias Lindholm has certainly helped that. He was good on the dot today. He's been good on the dot throughout his career. Johnny Beecher's playing some wing now, but Kastelik's been good on the dot. So they have some guys now in the center position that are a little better at faceoffs, and that leads to puck possession, which the Bruins really struggled with last year. So, better in the dot means, you should get more possession, especially in offensive zone draws, which leads to scoring chances, whether it's, on the power play or just, in the regular run of play, 5-on-5. It'll certainly help them in the long run to, make things a little bit better for them and hopefully, generate some more scoring chances.
Rob Spector with the question of the day: is this the team better suited for 2014 than 2024? Feels like the modern game is more speed and skill than size and toughness. And we've said this, is it just about heavy, or is it about just being tough enough, not backing down, not being intimidated? You still need speed. You still need, obviously, talent and skill and timely scoring and good special teams and all that, and good goaltending. But is this too much of an emphasis on just getting as bigger than everybody else? And is that a detriment when it comes down to it at the end of the day? Can you not? Is there going to be a quick team out there that beat you, and then you say next offseason, oh Jesus, now we got to get faster.
Yeah, time will tell. Time will tell if they went in the right direction on that. I think this team would be much better suited for 2014 than today's game.
Yes,
because you could hook and hold and do all that crap too.
Oh, yeah.
So you could kind of negate a speed advantage by another team by just putting your stick in their midsection and riding them around the ice. So we'll see if what the Bruins did in the offseason with getting bigger and being the biggest team in the league, if that will help them or hurt them. I mean, having a guy like Brazeau out there who can't skate at all certainly drags down the overall team speed. So if you insert a guy like Tyler Johnson or Max Jones, right there, you're faster. I think somebody said, Bruins fan 71, we really need two wingers. And I think he's right. I think
so too.
I think they could use two wingers. So, whether that's Tyler Johnson and someone else, or whoever, but they don't have a lot of cap space to make that happen. So maybe it's Tyler Johnson and one of these rookies. If they're having a pretty good season in Providence, they get called up after a month or two and get a chance. But we'll see how that all ends up shaking out. But I would say right now the jury's still out on whether or not the size and toughness thing is going to be working for the Bruins.
And a big hello to Mary Lee, who jumps in and gives us the 2-finger salute a couple of times. Nice to hear from Mary Lee. How do we get two wingers with $400,000?
Yeah, I mean,
well, that's an excellent question, Rob.
Yeah,
not good ones.
There you go. I mean, what's the minimum contract in the league? 870, 825, 790,
825 or something.
Somewhere in there.
775, something. I don't know, something like that.
You're gonna have to chop a guy in half and only use half his body for the roster spot.
Yeah, I don't know. It's going to be very interesting to see if they like Geeky right now is not proving to me that I'm moving on with this guy after this year.
Right
now. So, do you move him at the deadline, even if it's for a salary dump, like even if it's for a 4th round pick, like just to evade yourself from the $2 million? You might need to do something like that just to get $2 million.
Well, yeah, they have this plethora of 4th line guys here now with the Tuppies and the Koepkes and the Joneses of the world. Koepke's been great, but these other guys, you got them, you gave them. Tufty you didn't, but Jones you gave over $1 million, didn't you? Or
Jones gave you, I think, was it $1 million? I think it might have been $1 million. A Castellic is like 830 something, but
yeah. So
$1 million, yeah.
You have some guys maybe who would be are going to be in the press box that will cost you a little bit more money. So maybe you move on from some of those guys, or waive some of those guys and bury them, and you bring up a guy like Kuntar or a guy like Riley Duran, who's, a little bit cheaper. But if you get a little bit cheaper guys, you might have enough to get one guy for a veteran minimum deal that, might be available at the deadline that you could bring in here and hopefully can help you. So they're going to have to do some cap maneuvering, some cap gymnastics to make this work and find some more offensive talent if it's not a guy like Tyler Johnson.
Yeah, and I agree, Bruins fan 71. Frederick, Coyle, Geeky is my line. 3rd line.
Yeah.
There it is. Like, there it is. That's the line that I would have in a perfect world on this Bruins team. But right now, Coyle and Geeky have to play out of position because they're so thin.
Yeah, so if you could do that and you pull Aid Poitras with Marchand, who's your right wing?
Glenn Murray. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I honestly, I'd give Fabian Lysell a crack for like 6 or 8 games.
I'd
live with it.
Marchand, Poitras, Lysell. Is that what you're doing?
I might try doing that. Try doing that. Yeah, I might, just because you don't really have anybody else.
Yeah, to me it's you sign Tyler Johnson and you put him there.
Okay. Even though you're 70 years old between Johnson and
Marchand. I mean, but he's more responsible defensively than Lysell
is. If Poitras's there, if Coyle's there, I do not, because then you're 100 years old.
Right.
Yeah. Right.
No, if you're Marchand, Poitras, and then the winger you're trying to fit in with those guys, I think I go with Johnson. You go small, you go hockey IQ, and see if you can develop a little something there.
It's going to be interesting, Beth, as she says that the signing of Swayman left the Bruins with no wiggle room in the cap. And it's true. It's going to be interesting because they're going to need Don Sweeney just told you that it's not a complete work of art here. So they're going to need something at the deadline, and they have no money. So not only do they have no money, you're going to need $3 or $4 million in space to get a decent player. It's not even like you need to just cut one guy or do a little bit of something. It's like you need a decent amount of money.
Yeah, at the deadline they'll be able to, it's prorated or whatever, so they'll be able to, afford maybe a couple $1 million guy. Even then, they'll still have to make some moves, do some maneuvering. So,
or they get a guy that another team is willing to take some of the money for him.
Yeah, right.
Like a dump.
Yeah.
And that might be the avenue. I don't know.
It could be. So, like we said, not in love with the scoring at this point in time. I think Sweeney knows, everybody knows that the Bruins might need a little help there, but they still, get a win today in a game they, probably didn't deserve to win, but a win is a win is a win. And, Kings are a good team. So, getting a wing in the afternoon when you don't play that great, that's a pretty good sign.
Take it. We'll take it. Okay, 3 Bruins stars today.
I'll go Pastrnak 3 because he scored the overtime winner. I'll go Swayman 2, and I'll go Patra 1.
Yeah, I was right in there too, because I thought Swayman was one of the big reasons why you won.
Mm-hmm.
And I loved what Patra did, which was all positive in my opinion.
Yep.
All night, all day long. And then of course Pasta gets the big goal.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you're right on. I think that's kind of where it is. Next game is Monday afternoon at 1. Panthers a little banged up. Sasha Barkov, awkward landing in the boards. He's out for that game. And then Matthew Tkachuk is ill today. He'll miss the game today. Not sure what you'll get for him on Monday. So this is a kind of a banged up, weaker version of the Panthers coming in Monday. And you need to show something more than you did against the Panthers in the first game.
Yeah, like I said, if you wanted the fight in the first game and you didn't get it, just turn Monday afternoon into a bloodbath. Just turn it into a bloodbath.
Mm-hmm.
Just start beating guys up, whether they want to fight you or not, whether they want to drop the gloves or not, whether they asked you or you asked them, or you did a do-si-do or break danced, whatever it is. Just start beating guys up. Just grab somebody by the collar and start beating them up. And if you lose the game, you lose the game. But if message sending is what they wanted to do in the opener and they weren't allowed to do it, now's your chance. Send the message you want to send if you need to get it out of your system or whatever the case may be. But they need a better showing overall, whether it's fighting and scrapping or whether it's on the scoreboard. The Bruins need to show up in the game Monday afternoon to, I think restore a little faith in them against the Panthers, and then maybe for their own confidence against that team. There needs to be some kind of retribution from the Bruins in order to kind of move past this, I think.
And David Ilsley says a good message is scoring more goals than the other team. And 100%. In true Derek Sanderson fashion, the Bruins pulled that off today. A 2-1 win, a 2-1 win in overtime. Monday afternoon. We'll be on post-game live again after the Monday matinee. Join us on the YouTube channel, the Inside the Rink YouTube channel. Subscribe to it. Hey, follow us on Instagram and Facebook and X. We're on X at Bruins Benders. Bruins Benders on Instagram. We're going to be doing some real cool things in the social medias this year, and interact with us. We always love some interaction with our Bruins fans. We're fans too. Let's get it done. And we will be at Lops Brewing in Woonsocket, Rhode Island for a watch party. Bruins Maple Leafs podcasting Halloween party. Bruins Maple Leafs on October the 26th. Just 2 weeks away from today. Until then, and Mary Lee, you are a favorite too. We will be back again Monday. Until then, as always, go Bruins.
Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.